We go. All right. Welcome everyone to this global healing miracle experiment call. We have in the house so many powerful people who were discussing the ancient secrets. I actually have ancient secrets of a master healer in so many languages, and the principles behind these ancient secrets, which are timeless. And when you apply them, what if you discover even one secret on this call today that can change your life forever? One of the stories I'm so excited to share is Amber Wolf. And when she comes on the call, it's just a powerful story about even being in a hospital faced with so much anxiety, facing all kinds of the situations in which none of us really want to be in, but then reaching out with love for help, saying, can the ancient secrets help? And then in only 4 months, seeing such incredible results. I'm so excited for her to share that, because all of us, I just want to see a raise of hands actually to start off. Who has ever felt a situation where you felt anxiety? Who is, I just know because people on this call, if you're attracted to it, you're likely empathic. So you're also not only feeling your own anxiety, but all the shifts and changes happening on this planet. Amber Wolf, who has a very powerful purpose on this planet, also wasn't exempt from this situation. And so beautifully, we'll hear her story. Also, it's so fun that the news that's been happening all around the world. I've been posting on my Instagram and Facebook about how the Farsi book is spreading throughout Iran. It was in a book fair in Iran that Dr. Susan Padrad told me about, where since then, so many people have been getting the book and beautiful things happening throughout Iran. And then also, Asin, she sent me a notification that the head publishing company had started recording videos on her Instagram account and sending it. I'd say within about 2 days, it had been shared with hundreds of thousands of people who are getting the book in Turkish. It's so fun. And then this great news came from Dr. Giovanni, who we just loved seeing in Sedona. Just this week in Italy, he gave a powerful interview on a show that now has already been viewed by over 8,000 people, in which he talked about the book and the ancient secrets. I just sit back in like a awe and wonder and amazement at watching things unfold all over the globe. That during this critical time of change, these ancient secrets, I have it just in a bunch of the languages here, are so powerful and applicable that people literally all over the planet can pick up a book or listen to the audiobook or join one of these calls. And who knows, but today on this call, what if you discover an ancient secret that changes your life forever? So fun to see Dr. Stephen on the call. Dr. Stephen, are you able to say hi? Oh, I just unmuted. There you go.
Yes, very much, very much. Happy Father's Day, everybody. I'm here with my partner here. Mwah. We just came back from Cuba. Very so powerful time there.
Yeah, you were in Cuba for a couple of weddings, and we were all sending you so much love from Sedona. You were very much in our heart.
Really miss that. Really miss that. I love the people, and I love Sedona too. So thank you.
So fun. Well, yeah, I'm glad you also brought into this space. Happy Father's Day. In fact, I'd like to start off the call with everyone. Just think about one thing that you've learned, either from your father or a father figure in your life. And actually, Jana and Carol and Cornelia, would you be willing to just go ahead, everyone, put in the chat, or maybe guide a conversation with people about what's something powerful you learned from your father? And then, Amber, I see that you're here. It makes me so happy. So excited for us to share your story. We got a powerful update from many people who are in Sedona about how has love been guiding them. We have Luke, who's going to share a powerful update about the homeless and the homeless project. And then also Cheryl Lynn, one of our new family members, is going to share a really powerful piece that she shared during the talent show, just for the fun of it, just on this Father's Day. So we have a lot coming up, but go ahead, Jana, maybe you can start off. What is it that you learned from your father? What powerful thing? Now, we learned sometimes good things and maybe things that we don't want to be like as well, but let's focus right now on at least the things that
that are good. Yeah. My dad was a mystical man. He taught me to always think outside the box and to follow your intuition. He had he had an intuition that was just really amazing. And at the time that he was alive, because he died when I was 30, he was only 59. I didn't understand it, but he had this incredible ability. He loved people, and he always honored them. You're talking about Luke with the homeless. He had homeless people come into his store all the time, and he always honored them with love and respect. And that was my dad. But he had an ability to be able to create things that he desired, and he was trying to instill that in me. And now I understand, but back then I didn't. So I really love my dad, and I'm so grateful for him.
I'm grateful for your dad too, Jana. How about Carol Ray? What about you? What's something powerful that you learned from your dad? What did love teach you in relation to your dad?
My dad was a gambler, business owner and gambler, and he would bet people that I could do something that seemed impossible. Like at 4, eating a 12-ounce prime rib, the whole thing. Or at 9, driving a semi truck, a 1-ton truck to the end of the block, sitting on a phone book, shifting gears, driving. So he always taught me to give it your best, just try. And I could do remarkable things as a young child because he believed in me.
I love that. That's so beautiful. How about you, Cornelia? What about for you?
Well, my relationship with my father was kind of difficult because my father was an alcoholic. And so it was only later in life that I kind of had a better relationship with him. But what he taught me was his gentleness. He was one of the few men in my life that really always was so gentle with everyone. And that is something that I really treasure, the memories of those moments when he really exposed himself and was vulnerable and very gentle.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm reading so many of these comments. Robin Lee, my father taught me so much about staying strong and resilient. 80 years young. Linda Smith, my dad always had a strong intuition. He would say, I have a hunch. Katie, learned the importance of doing your inner work. And Sue, this is really beautiful what you say. My father prepared me for the shift. I don't know, Sue, if you're able to share a little bit more about that. I know you're not on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I'd love to hear more if you can share.
I'm just making breakfast for my husband. So, but yeah, my dad was, I don't know. I feel like he is really helping from the other side during this shift right now. He prepared me for everything that's to come. He told me most of what's to come. And then I was activated in 2021 for my own role, I guess. Sorry, I'm getting DNA activations right now. It's solstice energy.
Yeah. Well, how beautiful that your father was tuned in to some of the shifts happening on the planet and also preparing you for that. That's really powerful too. Thank you for sharing that. Really powerful. I want to go to Vinay. It's really cool because, sometimes it's not only our biological fathers, but also it's other people in our lives that make a big difference in our lives. And so, Vinay, I love what you put about 2 father figures for you. You want to share about them?
Yeah, it's always an honor to be a father like my spiritual master, His Holiness Hari Prasad Swamiji, and Dr. Naram, of course. And today I can say that whatever I am here, it's because of these 2 people. And the whole community knows about the Dr. Naram. They both taught me few things which really helped me. That to never stop in any situation, just move forward. And best way is that to be gentle and kind enough, and at the same time, you can just face the situation. Of course, it's a very tough moment for me when they both left me physically, I should say, but in divine wise, they both are with me. And I really feel that thing always. Yes, yeah. They both are with me.
It's so powerful, both the things. I saw with regards to Dr. Naram and people that he was associated with, he allowed us to make mistakes, actually, and he allowed us to learn through it. In fact, sometimes I was more strict. I was like, we need to do something about this. If someone had cheated him or had made some big mistake, I would get anxious. Talking about ancient secrets for anxiety, I would get anxious and angry. And he would say, no, it's not our job to teach anyone any lessons. Life will teach lessons. It's our job to love them in this space and see if naturally they change. Oh, man, it makes me want to cry just thinking about that. How cool to be around people where you can even make mistakes. And also there's room to grow through it. And there's a presence, a loving presence that's a mirror reflecting back to you another possibility. And one reason why I love this community, this Ancient Secrets community so much is I feel like it's that. We're just perfectly imperfect people, like really trying to make a difference in our lives, but in the lives of those we love and on this planet, and we're doing it. And so on today's call, it's going to be fun to talk some about that. And then I also love, Vinay, how you talk about the presence beyond when they leave their physical body. And I think also, Sue, you mentioned that, or someone else, that you notice their presence even if they're not physically with you. And even Dr. Ram, man, so many stories. Like I'm holding the book in Dutch right now, and I'm thinking about when we were doing the book launch in the Netherlands, and the woman from Belgium coming and saying that she had a dream where Dr. Ram appeared in the dream and said, this book is going to help your brother come out of a coma. Her brother was in coma and the doctors had given up hope. And she opened up the first chapter and it's about how to help someone come out of a coma. And so she started applying the ancient secrets and, the whole story that many of you have heard, where then her brother came out of coma, was home and talking and walking. There was lots of ups and downs in between. Then it was so fun in Sedona. We met so many people from Brazil. And it was so fun to be able to give the Portuguese book that Sonia and Luisa, Angelica and Prafulta and so many had worked so hard on. And it was so fun. One woman there, Daniela, went home and was so excited to give the book to her mother because it was the one book in Portuguese that she felt like her mother could read. And I just posted on Instagram yesterday about her mother's like, wait a minute. And she pulled out and she had already gotten the book. She already had it. And so they both celebrated that love had guided them to that same place. And I feel like whether these people who have loved us are still in the physical form or not, there's love that goes beyond death. There's a love in action in our lives, and the imprint of that love in us shapes us and who we are. And I'm just so grateful as I'm reading, I just love it if everyone can put the name of your father in the chat or the name of someone who is a father figure for you, because I just want to honor them in this space and love them. And I'm going to read as fast as I can their names, maybe not as fast as I can, but David, a couple of Davids, Norm, Hans, Steve, Paulo, Durward, Ishmael, Eddie, so beautiful, Kenneth, Ibrahim, Herbert Holmes, Malpas, Dion Singh, Jerry, Benjamin, William, Eddie, and Edwin, Robert, Bud, Dwight, Bill, Arnold, Stan, EJ, Edward, Robert Sterling Bell. Oh, Bell, happy birthday to you, by the way, yesterday. We love you and having you in the community. Joseph, Jeff, Milton, Bill, Chuck, Murray, Robert, John, Walter, Robert, Edward, Stanley, Carl, Albert, Francisco, Devananda. I'm just thinking about your dad. Wow, how proud he must be of you right now. Arthur, Sherilyn, my father is Eric Olaf. Wow, Deborah Ann Elmer. Beautiful. Mojda's father, Mansour, Beverly, Elwood, Curly is his nickname, I guess. Benny, Sydney. Also Grazi's father, same name. Francisco, Cyril, Yehuda, and Azriel. Benjamin Arthur Chavez, Jeff, Karim Carmelo Arun Tame, Thomas, Dean, Robert, Greg. So beautiful. And then one other thing that I just want to bring in this space is because, I call this a love story, but not your typical love story. But basically, this book is a love story of a son and a father. It was thanks to my dad, George, that all this journey began for me. I don't know if anything else would have pulled me out of my skepticism, pulled me out of my arrogance, pulled me out of my rigid way of seeing the world more than my love for my father. And so, in honor of all the fathers on today's call and all those loving people who bring father energy into this planet, let's put our hands together. All those that I read and all those that I didn't read. And just in this space of love, say, I love you and I'm with you. I love you and I'm with you. I'm going to put the view on gallery so you can see this beautiful people all over the planet blasting this love out to all the fathers.
I love you and I'm with you.
Uh,
And overcame when it came.
Thank
Love
you.
you and I'm with you.
Now, I want you to do this. This is mixing it up a little bit for everyone. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. I want you to feel your father or the person that you felt love like a father in the room with you. And I want you to feel them looking at you. I want you to feel them seeing everything about you, all your shortcomings, all your strengths, all the successes. And Dr. Ram says there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. But all those moments where you felt like you failed, but they see the you beyond that. They see the you that is just pure love. They see the you that maybe they are even the ones that guided you here to this space of love and healing, to these ancient secrets. And I want you to rub your hands together, imagining them. Go ahead, place the hands on your heart. Imagine it's their hand on your heart right now. And imagine they're saying to you, I love you and I'm with you. I love you and I'm with you. And then in ancient secret style, when you take your right hand and on your left shoulder, you tap 6 times. This is what Dr. Raman do, a Marmaa point for anchoring in something that you want to remember. And so you tap 6 times and you say, very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, each of you. Thank you for being a conduit of love in this world. Thank you for being an extension, not just of your father and mother, but of DNA that goes back for millennia, since the beginning. You're a combination of all this ancestry, all the masculine and all the feminine and all the beauty and all the trauma, all mixed into the magical gift of you on this planet with a purpose. You know, Dr. Ram says each of us has a purpose to discover. And on this call, I'm so happy to start it off with Amber, Dr. Amber Wolf. I'm just going to spotlight you right now. Wow. Yeah. So good to have you join us.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Clint.
Right.
I am still basking in the Sedona love connection.
Yeah. You know, having you on this call is a gift because you represent to me someone who's discovered what do you want, and you're making such a difference on this planet through your life's work. And so before we go into the particular story about how you use the ancient secrets to kind of move past the anxiety and the stress of the moment, can you share a little bit about your life's work, just so people get cued into that?
Yeah, thank you. My life's work was always in the healing field, but it blossomed when my beloved transitioned 10 years ago now. And it was through his connection with Lee Carroll that my connection, really, the word blossom is the perfect word, with the Lemurian sisterhood. I always knew I needed to bring my passion for honoring and empowering women into form somehow. And sometimes I was patient about that, and sometimes I wasn't. But in 2010, when I started to travel with Lee Carroll, I began having meetings on a Saturday evening with the women. And in 2014, Cryon started to come and channel to those groups. And it really brought out our purpose as a group. And that was much like this group, of course, to connect to more people, to empower more people, to honor more women. And from there, it's just continued to grow and evolve. It didn't stay that, it's evolved into something that I never could have imagined. It wasn't a goal. It wasn't my future that I saw. And I have trusted that as it evolves, the part of me that doesn't believe this could be happening dissolves. And I become more a steward of this work of empowering women. And I just had wonderful Michael, the photographer from Germany, was here for a couple of days, and he interviewed me, and we did a bunch of photographs. And so it was very good timing to be doing this, because it really brings up more of the basics about why this is my life's work, and it's so exciting. And that is not just empowering women. I do that because I'm a woman, but the empowering of women is really the ripple effect is that it empowers men who are around the women, and the men and women who have children, and then the people who are in, positions of power, and people who have no power. And there isn't anybody's life that isn't touched, I believe, and not because of me, but because of the people who keep living in a new way of self-love and self-care, just like you're talking about.
Well, I love, first of all, and everyone, listening, I bet they can relate, because sometimes we don't know exactly what we're here to do. Dr. Ram, he actually said clearly 95% of people on the planet don't really know what they want. They're window shopping. 3% of people discover what they want, but never achieve it. 1%, they discover, they achieve it, but in a way that's toxic. They can't enjoy it. They got health problems and relationship problems and kid problems and spouse problems. He says 1% of people on this world, on this planet, discover what they want, and then they achieve it in a way they can enjoy it. And, when I think about the ancient secrets, I think that's really the crux of the Siddha Veda masters. What they kept is it's a way of life in which we can discover what love wants to do through us, in a sense, what divine spirit wants to do through us. And I love it, the journey of, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but so here's Lee, Monica, and you and me and this other beautiful person. Remind me her name real quick.
Catherine.
And we're in Sedona. It was right after your pulse consultation with Dr. Giovanni. And was it through Monica and Lee? Did they give you a copy of my book? I'm pretty sure that was what happened, but
when you were on Healing Wednesday.
I see. Fantastic.
And then you came back to Healing Wednesday, but I ordered the book before the first show was even over. It was on my doorstep by the time the show was over.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. And then this was when you told me the news about what had happened, and we'll go into it. It was so beautiful also that Lee and Monica had invited me to be one of the keynote speakers at the event, and to have you come on stage and share with this beautiful audience your inspiring story. Who knows? This is when love guides you and you take care of yourself, how many other people it can benefit. Who knows the contagious healing that will come from that? And then I love this picture from Hawaii with the book that you and Monica had written, The Women of Lemuria. I love the subtitle, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Times. That sounds familiar to me. Why don't we have ancient wisdom for modern times? And I just love that that's a part of your journey. And I love that you had a chance to meet Giovanni also in that space. And I don't know, so many things. So how about we jump into the story about what was happening 4 months ago, from someone who maybe doesn't believe that you ever have any problems. It looks like you always have it easy,
Yeah, it always looks good on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had been on blood pressure medication for a couple of years, which I didn't like. That was the first time in my life I'd taken any kind of medication, but I took it. And I was in South Carolina at Christmas time, and I had a terrible anxiety attack, and I ended up in the hospital. And because my blood pressure was so high, 2 days before Christmas, and you helped me through.
I just want to drop into this for everyone. First of all, holidays are often stressful.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
second of all, when you're in the midst of a health crisis in that moment, and then so much so that you need to go to the hospital 2 days before Christmas. I just want everyone to feel into that moment of what would that be like, you know?
Yeah, definitely not ideal. One of the interesting things, just as a side note out of that, is that didn't have a really good bond with my son's partner and her family. And that all shifted around that experience. So
Huh.
that that was what love could do, right? Love can do that.
Well, I don't know. I know when we were in Sedona and you came up to me and you talked about many things that had helped, but the concept of a titi davabawa, you
Yeah.
know, that what if even the challenge can be a gift? You know,
Yeah.
Dr. Mom says that whatever's our challenge, heartache has within it seeds of equal or greater benefits. So here you were in the hospital,
Yeah.
having this anxiety on this blood pressure medication, seeing the spike, not knowing what was going to happen, and describe what unfolded from there.
Well, what I stayed in the hospital, they did the tests, they thought I was fine. I didn't have a heart attack, anything like that. Um, and I know now what the anxiety came from, which really was not the point. The
Mm,
point was when I got out of the hospital and the next couple of days, you helped me with the Marma points. And it was so, and I have been a student of Chinese medicine and acupuncture for probably 40 years.
mm,
So I know about points and I know the power of them and I do tapping and all of that, but I had not ever known marmas.
mm,
So when we got to that, the blood pressure marma and the anxiety marmas, and I was able to do that, I felt like I had some control over what was happening. Like
mm,
I had in my hands, it's so simple,
mhm.
um, that I could do something that shifted the energy for me. And it did. And I was better soon. And I kept looking at the cause of the anxiety and what did I want instead of that, or, you know, going deeper into, I'm also a psychotherapist, so I have that hat on a lot, although it's much harder with yourself or your family. But and I was eating the mung bean soup already. I was already on the diet, and I have a very clean diet, strict, whatever. It doesn't feel strict, it feels normal to me. But um, when I came home and talked to the doctor that had prescribed the blood pressure medication and told him all of this, he said, "Why don't you take half as much medication?" And I was shocked because I thought I would be needing more. Um, and he said, "Just monitor your blood pressure, just take half as much." And then I saw him in February, and my blood pressure, so I'm still on the diet, still doing the marmas. My blood pressure was really good. And he said, "Why don't you take a medication vacation for about a week and monitor your blood pressure?" And it was really good. It just kept staying stable, and kept eating the diet, etc. And then I just didn't go back on it. And
Yeah. First of all, I want to acknowledge your doctor.
yeah,
You know,
pretty amazing, huh?
let's put a lot of love towards that doctor and any who are looking for real solutions, which I believe they are. We love you and we're with you. Thank you.
Definitely love him.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
course, he's from Hawaii,
yeah.
which was like, for me, is like, okay, of course, yeah. Um,
And still, I
and
just want to say that in this space, also, Amber, you, in addition to the food, feeding yourself here and the Marma points, you're also feeding yourself here. I almost every Sunday call, I see some beautiful comments from you where you're listening and you're feeding your mind with all the inspiring stories about all the healing transformations, which is also nourishing your commitment to yourself and to the reality that this is a viable solution for resolving really severe challenges. And so not just what you're feeding here, but what you're feeding here and while you're doing the marmas.
here.
Yeah, what you're feeding here. Yeah. Also very good.
Yeah. Well, I have a CT scan scheduled with this really interesting doctor that I met before I came to Sedona, uh, all around the whole blood pressure heart thing. So when I finally found a cardiologist that was I could relate to, he's probably maybe 60 and little tiny Indian guy, and
Hmm.
they call him Dr. J because he has, a long Indian name. I actually spoke to him yesterday. He called me on a Saturday because I emailed him, and he's a professor of medicine and cardiology at the University of Arizona.
Hmm.
And I just had concerns about the invasiveness of this test.
Hmm.
Iodine, beta blockers, nitroglycerin. And I said to him, this, well, you don't need to hear that whole conversation, but you can imagine that I had concerns.
Hmm.
And he spent a half an hour on the phone with me talking about that. And I just loved that. And he's one of those doctors. He even told me, he said, I'm thinking 10 years ahead of where medicine is right now. And he is on his way to India for a yoga retreat for a month.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. So as part of all of the first doctor's thing, I needed to have my cholesterol and my A1C checked. I was supposed to do it in May. I didn't, and I just did it Friday, and I got the results because everything is magic and instantaneous and on your computer now. And I've always tended towards higher cholesterol, even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And as the medical community has dropped what's acceptable over the years, my cholesterol's gone up a little and gone up a little. So not acceptable. This last test, it had dropped 30 points.
Hmm.
30. I mean, I had a prayer and I had a vision and I had a seeing that result, and it was lower. It just was lower in my mind, as long as it was lower. But I never expected 30 points, and that my A1C went down 0.2 points, which so I'm kind of speechless and kind of amazed. And I'm just going to keep doing it.
First of all, let's send so much love to Amber. You did this. You opened up this portal and you created this.
In a vacuum. I did it with lots of support and help and love. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we love you and we're with you. We're so happy. I put in the chat the link to where you can discover more about Amber's work. But I want to say also, Amber, it's so beautiful your recognition of you didn't do it in a vacuum. As a community, I love it. Dr. Joseph, he talked about in Sedona, he says sometimes we're wounded in community, but also that's where we're healed. And in this particular case, such a beautiful example where it wasn't just you and it wasn't just me, Lee and Monica, invited me on this thing. And then through many other people and through Mindy, who also supported the interaction and connection between you and me. And then also so many story after story of people who had such beautiful results. And now your contribution in this way, we get to celebrate you. And as a microcosm of the macrocosm, if you did this for yourself, what a good news it is for all of us.
Yeah. And it was not, I had no expectations other than it will be better. I didn't know how that would show up, so this now has, and one of the things, Clint, that attracted me to this community from the start was I lived in an ashram many years ago, so I already knew about the diet. And I said to Lee and Monica when they were doing the diet so strictly, I said, "Oh no, ashram food again." It's back. But it was the lens of love that this community is working to look through at everything that really attracts me. So it starts with us and goes up to the world. So thank you for that. Thank you for your vision and your mission and your passion.
Yeah, well, two things. One is also, when you told me in Sedona, I almost cried. I had tears in my eyes for the joy, not only for you, but also all the people that you're impacting. And I just felt so much gratitude. And then to get that text message yesterday about the cholesterol dropping 30 points, A1C dropping 0.2 points, it really is a powerful example of what is possible now. And so one thing I think would be beneficial is if we demonstrate together, what are the Marma points? Because even in Turkey, one reason, talk about a Diti Devo Bawa. Also in Sedona, when you were talking to me, you said, this principle of a Titi Devo Bawa. Now I see things coming and I just respond that, oh, this is a gift from the divine. Even that helps anxiety to decrease and blood pressure to be normal. Like that principle alone makes a big difference. Yeah. So now let's demonstrate also when the earthquakes happened in Turkey. One reason why the Turkish book is finally in Turkey and being spread like crazy is because of that Aditi Devo Baba moment. And that when you have that much trauma and fear, how do we decrease our anxiety? And everyone on this call, who knows what's coming in this upcoming period of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, individually and collectively. So what if right now we anchor in these Marma points for bringing more peace? So that way, when you act, it's not reacting from fear or from ego or from anxiety, but you respond. You can respond from your presence, from your wisdom, and from your love. So Amber, you want to just walk us through what are the Marma points that you were doing that helped provide this beautiful transformation?
Well, and I learned that a better or the right way to do the what do you want? And I think that is so powerful. What do you want?
Mm.
I can't even imagine any time in my life when someone asked me that, unless I was, at a counter at a pharmacy somewhere or a grocery store. What do you want, lady? But what do I want? And it starts with that point. And I was pressing this way.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Giovanni told me to press this way.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. There's many ways you can press it. You can also press it this way, but let's go with what Giovanni said, because let's give this experiment. We'll do this experiment together.
6 times. What do I want?
So on your right hand, your right pointer finger. And so because it somehow creates a mirror situation, so it may look one way or another, but everyone, your right hand, you can tell it's your right hand because if you put them up in front of you, the left hand forms an L to your eyes and the right hand doesn't. So that's your right hand. Okay, so with your right hand, the right pointer finger, you press 6 times while being clear on what do you want, or getting clear on what do you want.
And it was really simple. I wanted to have lower blood pressure and less anxiety.
Ah, so beautiful.
I just kept saying lower blood pressure, less anxiety.
Beautiful. And now for everyone, you can also take it a step further, which is when you have lower blood pressure and less anxiety, what will you do? And sometimes that helps to visualize for people something clear that you're walking towards. Okay, so now the second Marma. So what do you want, Marma?
The second one was on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So the 4 fingers and then flip it.
I do it like this and flip it. So 7th point.
7. And then I also kept saying what I want while I pressed it 6 times.
Yeah, very good. And then you press 6 times.
6 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good.
Let's see, what was next? I think next I did the squeezing of the head.
Yep. So you put your right hand on the forehead, left hand exactly opposite, and then put all the hands and fingers so they're all touching. Your fingers are touching, and you can just hold your head up like this, and you squeeze 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good.
And then on the temples, of course, if you have ghee,
yeah,
you use ghee, and then 6 circles, and then press in and pull down.
Very good.
And I also, when I'm doing this, because I believe in that our cells are listening, I say what I want out loud during all of that. And I love what you said about seeing it, visualizing it. Many of us are not visual, but many of us are. So if you see a picture of even in me with my blood pressure cuff on and the reading is like astounding, perfect. And of course, then there's the earlobe 6 times.
Yeah, your right earlobe 6 times. In Sedona, we did this one together. And then I would say this very powerful one as well. You put your left hand behind and you take your right finger here. And as you press, you breathe in. And as you unpress, you breathe out. And you do this 6 times. So breathe in. Let's all do it together. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah.
And then if we had ghee,
Yeah.
rub the top of our head.
Yeah. And some of these are specifically for blood pressure, but also can help with anxiety too. If you have ghee and you put it right on the crown of your head, makes a big difference. And then also if you have blood pressure, you can put it in your navel and on the bottoms of your feet. And you can do this whole process many times. And as you're doing it, Amber made such an important point. You speak the positive, loving things. You focus on what do you want. Now, for anyone who's ever feeling anxiety, worry, nervous, fear, just be curious and say, what was I just focused on? And you'll notice you'll focus on what you don't want. That's why you feel anxious. So even just from focusing on what do you want, and Dr. Ram says there's conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, by anchoring that in through Marmaa, by removing the toxins from your body through the diet and the herbs, and by nourishing your body, mind, and emotions with other herbal supplements and with the whole, miracle experiment game and joining the Sunday calls and things like this, you give yourself such a good chance to actually believe and live the principle Dr. Ram says that there's no obstacle, heartache, or challenge without seeds of equal or greater benefit. Now, Amber, you are such a good example. You faced this challenge in such a way now we're all being blessed by it. Very much equal or greater benefit in the way that also brought you closer to your family, your in-laws, and also to all of us.
That was a miracle. That was, and I never expected. It was just sort of get through the holidays, but it stayed that way. It has stayed wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. I want this just a beautiful moment. Actually, I'm going to invite everyone to unmute if you want, but put your hands together like this. And to Amber, her whole family, I'm just going to say, I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Amber.
With you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Giving my less than perfect presence, I promise I'll be a miracle. I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
That is so fun. I'm going to have you unmute one more time, Amber. I just want to say thank you for coming on today's call for a lot of reasons, but for choosing for yourself. On the stage, I talked about how Mother Teresa, Dr. Ram, wanted to help so much, but she didn't choose to do it. She wanted to help everyone else, but not herself. And so in giving our gifts to the planet, what if we can do it in a way that doesn't deplete us, but nourishes us? So that way we have more to give. We're giving from a full cup. I like it. Dr. Stephen, he says, instead of being selfish, we're being self-full. Instead of being selfless, we're being self-full. That's how it went. And so thank you for being full, because you have such powerful gifts to give this planet. I'm so happy that you're part of our family.
I just started my supplements yesterday, my Ancient Secrets, my Marmaa supplements, the Kool-Aid of the Kool-Aid. All of this. So I'm really anxious. No, not anxious. I'm excited to see what the next level is now that I've added the supplements to everything else.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool point. So I want to be clear, because I wasn't clear on this. You hadn't even taken any herbal supplements. It was just from the diet and the Marmaa and the lifestyle and joining the calls.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so now so many results came from that. What happens when you also take the supplements? It's a really interesting. We're excited to have you follow up and share with us what goes in the next level.
I will. Thank you, Clint. Thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful community.
Now, I want to ask you this question too, because we're going into this new Ancient Secrets community structure. Last week, we brainstormed some, and today we're going to be able to go. Actually, I'm going to mix up the call a little bit. I want to go into breakout rooms first, and then afterwards we'll come out. We'll hear some of what people share. We'll hear from Luke and Sherilyn, which will be so fun. But when you think about what kind of, when people are doing this kind of work in the world, and you've been a part of many communities, for you, what's a sign of a community that is actually really healthy and making a difference for individuals and on the planet? Is there any tips or things you can give us, any wisdom you can give us with regards to that?
Well, I've had a community for many years now of women that are teaching what I do. And I feel that probably the thing that I've learned from that is that each person has something different to offer, and it's unique, and we all see the world through different eyes and experiences. But when we have a common bond like love, like ancient secrets, like Lemurian sisterhood, and we want more for that than we do for what we think is right or good. When the bigger goal is shared, then we all can use our talents and our missions and our passions to create that.
I love it. So kind of when there's a vision that's bigger than us, when something unites us, beyond whatever our differences, because even in this community, we have so many differences from different parts of the world, different religious backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses, different political viewpoints, but there's something that's beyond all of that Dr. Ram talked about that unites us. Yeah. And it's basically wanting this world to be a healthier, happier place and to let love guide in that space. And so that can help bring us together in a way that's beyond what our individual capacity is or differences are. Did I understand you correctly?
You said it beautifully. Thank you.
So beautiful. I'm putting in the chat right now, and I'll put it in the comments of the Facebook Live as well. There's a link where basically you can discover more about what is this new Ancient Secrets community structure. And also it's priceless. In fact, there's no price to it, but it's the, I love it. Dr. Joseph, he said, the price we have to pay oftentimes is attention, and then also there's an energy exchange, but it's a choose your own adventure. And so there's a link where you can apply, and I'm going to make sure that's there. But right now on this call, I wanted to go into breakout rooms so everyone gets a chance to share. Listen from this perspective of your heart, even from the perspective of what did the father figure or the love, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, what did they teach you that can help in this space? And then also from Amber's story, what worked in terms of actually providing a result that was not only good for her, but for all of us. And so all those elements we'll just discuss. Last week, we discussed them a little bit. So we're going to go into breakout rooms where there's going to be 4 or 5 people for 1 minute each. I want you to share what are some of the insights that you gained, and then we're going to come back and talk about it, or we're going to come back and talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to do a couple other things before this hour concludes. So if you can right now, I invite you to turn on your camera and to share from your heart in 1 minute. What is let's see what the question is. What I want specifically is for us to discuss, what is it about a community structure, about being connected with each other, that you think could help all of us, and help life on this planet? Maybe you have some insight about something that has worked in the past or something you want to make sure that's included.
Hey,
so
Clint,
right now, go ahead, Jana.
I just want to let you know that Sherilyn needs to leave a little bit after 9. So just kind of keep that in mind. Perfect.
Definitely. Well, we're going to come back in about 6 minutes, and we'll have Sherilyn talk about community and how community can also bring us joy. How when we're playful, it makes a difference. We got a real special treat when we come back. So 6 minutes, each person has about 1 minute to share. You can see right now, open invitation to join a breakout group. And so go ahead and join the breakout group, and then we'll come back together and we'll share. And so in this space, Susie, and Wendy Littlepage and Romarishi, I'll have a couple people here. And Faris, so good to see you. Susie, what do you think for you? What is it that makes the big difference when you're part of a community that feels healthy and functional and helps bring more? Go ahead.
No, keep on.
No, go ahead. I just want to hear any free flow of thoughts that you have.
Well, first of all, it has helped me stay alive in a very deep way, because that is what the juice of life is having a beautiful, loving, healthy community to be part of. That's it in a nutshell for me.
Yeah, I love
It makes
that.
my soul, it makes my heart and soul sing.
Now, what are some elements of that worked, that gave that result?
Well, first of all, this particular community, a lot of it has to do with how you, Dr. Clint, were able to hold the intention so strongly and was a beacon of light of that, first of all. Bringing yourself and everything that you've learned of how to be a loving, kind, compassionate, with amazing listening, with understanding skills, and keeping the integrity of that and continuing it through all these 3 years. You've been and Dr. Naram's, essence, lifting everything up.
Well, thank you so much for that.
But that's really a really important part, because sometimes leaders lose sight of that, right? They get off target, or they lose the sense of, especially when a group grows.
Yeah.
Right?
Dr. Ram, I was on Spotlight that whole time, so we couldn't see you. I'm so sorry, Susie. I'm spotlighting you now.
Oh, okay.
One thing that I love that Dr. Ram taught me, he says, whenever any messenger thinks they're more important than the message, they fall down. And he said that in any case, fear and ego are the biggest obstacles to us seeing each other and ourselves clearly. And I can't say that I've been absent of that, but that reminder from Dr. Ram has helped a lot. And so thank you for seeing that. And I also want to say that it's that same thing in each person in the community that comes and goes. I've seen people come and go for different reasons, but especially when they're coming from love, it's so beautiful to see the unfolding of that desire to serve, not from ego, and also sometimes facing fears and the growth that comes through that. And Susie, you are such a good example of that. You face some real big challenges, and also not only on your own, but in the community, and done it with so much power. So I want to go to a couple other people. Barbara, and then I don't know if can you share?
Hi, Dr. Clint.
Nice
so good to see you all. I just got knocked out of my other group as I tried to click something out of the way, and I had to start all over again and ended up here. So
it's our benefit.
One thing I wanted to say was about my father. He taught me a work ethic, an incredible work ethic. 7 children in the family, so there were 9 of us, and he held down 2 jobs. Perfect example of love and concern for your family. He was not a demonstrative person of love, and he spent little time with us. What he did was to connect with us. He read us comic books on Sunday mornings. And we got to sit there and comb his hair and just hang on to him while he read us comic books. It was just delightful. So funny to look at it now. But he made his connection with us. He would take us to a swimming pool on a Friday night occasionally. That was a delight. So anyway, sweet man, very, very kind.
I love that. I love that element that you brought in.
Yeah, just a worker. The other thing for our community, my breakout community last time, they all lived in my state, surprisingly.
Oh my goodness,
and
wow.
It was just like, oh my gosh, there are people I can physically connect with. And I thought maybe that's something we could do if people would allow it, and just, optional to have where people can find out who lives where, to connect in our community face to face if people wanted to. But
I love that. I love that.
Like an address book for everybody who's in the community. And if you're traveling, you may have the option to have meals with people. That's a spiritual thing, that when the traveler, the wanderer comes through, you offer them a meal. And that would be wonderful.
Oh, I love that too. Barbara, you come up with some great stuff. Karen Kellogg was in Sedona, and so we got the benefit of hugging and meeting in person and sharing, breaking bread. Karen, any thoughts you have about any wisdom you think could help this new community structure as we're moving forward? Something you've seen work in the past, something maybe you've learned from your dad or or anyone. I love these ideas, Barbara. Thank you so much. If you come up with any more, share it, because that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Karen, any wisdom you have for us? I don't know, Karen, can you hear me, Karen? I'm not sure if you can hear it, Karen. It's so fun to see you and be with you on this space, but I don't know if you can hear me properly.
Yeah, she doesn't have herself muted, so I don't know why we can't hear her.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So
Well,
I would like to say, piggyback on with what Barbara said.
Yeah,
is
please.
that when with the Saima community, we used to have a running email with phone number and what state people lived in. So, and then we eventually branched out into several communities. And they stopped doing that a long time ago, actually. And I really miss that because that was a way to connect with people from across the world. And I still happen to be in an area where, I'm like-minded, especially with this level of love and spiritual connection, doesn't happen very often. So it's nice to, this is why I love this group so much.
So beautiful. What great experience and sharing. So for those that are just coming back on the call, El Mao, so great to see you, brother. You're joining us from which country again?
From Senegal.
Senegal. I love Senegal. Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. And so it's beautiful. Barbara was saying that, in her breakout room last week, everyone was from the same state. And so when people came, they maybe can meet together to hug each other. Or if you're traveling, there can be people that can offer a meal or some food. And so is it okay, El Mo, if we come to Senegal and we all have a big Ancient Secrets experience there with you?
That would be fun, wonderful.
Yeah.
Really. Oh,
and also,
I'm just dreaming about that.
Beautiful. I have been to Senegal before when I was in my previous incarnation as a university researcher. We did some events there and I fell in love with Senegal. And so that you're a part of this global family. And I love that we have this opportunity to share, from our heart. So thank you, Elmao, and thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Susie. So now that everyone is coming back, I just want you to go ahead and put in the chat, what is one of the most, the ideas that you felt was the best as far as either principles or practicalities of structure that we can do that can help the new Ancient Secrets community structure? Just go ahead and put those in the chat. I'll just share that Barbara was sharing about how, what if we're even in a vicinity that's in the same state or close enough, or we're traveling through, we can know where people are so we can have a lunch with each other and, connect heart to heart in a physical way as well. So go ahead and in the chat, what's one idea, insight that you had about, how could this new community structure benefit you, benefit us all together, and benefit life on the planet? And then as we're doing that, Sherilyn, talk about, one of the things that I think I learned in Sedona, as well as the last time we had the Unstoppable event online, was the talents and gifts of this community are off the charts. So inspiring and so creative. Luke, he did a rap that he had made up, an Ancient Secrets rap, and Tia and Casey and so many had and Joey, such funny musical talents and beautiful musical talents. Now, Sherilyn had a really fun gift. And just for the sake of playfulness, I just asked her, is there any way you could share it? Kind of selfishly, because I wanted to hear it again. So thinking about the playfulness of bringing our gifts to each other, Sherilyn, would you share this gift with us?
I will, and I thank you for asking me. I actually in Sedona had messed it up. It was the first time in 25 years of telling the story that I totally went blank, and it was kind of crazy. So I am praying I'll be able to do a great job today. And just a quick, if I can, just a quick amazing side now, when we talk about community and people bringing us all together and how this can be such an amazing group of individuals from all over the place. My two little kids that people have seen kind of in the background a little bit, they're half Senegalese. You were just talking about Senegalese man. They're half Senegalese. Their father is Muslim, and I was raised Mormon, and they have actually Islamic names. My son is Ali, and my daughter, her first name is Aisha. She goes by Ella, but her first name is Aisha. And I was given a Muslim name by a sheikh, which is Rabia, during this part of my journey in my life, which was very amazing to me. And one thing that I think is amazing is when you bring love together, this is Ali, is that we have the ability to build bridges with love. And so I hope that my story can be part of that bridge.
I love what you're sharing about how bridges, it's beyond, even love reaches beyond religion. It's like electricity. It works no matter what. And even the love of Marty, I'm going to spotlight her for a little bit, talking about friendships and the way that you both came and both showed us such an example of love and commitment to friendship was what I want infused in this community. And so, Marty, I get emotional when I see you and the gift that you gave us all by bringing Sherilyn into that space and encouraging her to get up on the stage when she was so scared. Actually, you could feel the nervousness in her voice when Gary was doing the soul song process. And I think it was because of your presence, Marty, because of your love and your caring of someone she trusted, that she was willing to step out of her comfort zone and then have that beautiful transformation that affected us all. So thank you, Marty, for being here as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty cool to hear my kids sing the song this last week. It's been a pretty fun thing. we're trying to get this thing in them where they learn how to trust their inner voice. So they're like doing their chores. I trust my inner voice now and forever. They're just doing it. So
that's so cool. Well, I know we don't have much time before you have to leave, so please share with us this beautiful gift and just give us a little context, and then you can go into it.
Okay. So you'll just have to listen very carefully. A lot of people did ask me, how in the world did I ever learn this? And it happened as a young girl. Actually, my mom told this to me as kind of a bedtime story when I was young. And I ended up doing it for a high school talent show, and it just kind of stuck with me. And so when I get the chance, I try to help lighten the day or whatever the situation is with the story, because it's kind of funny. So here we go. Once upon a while, in a corn country, there lived a Gretty Pearl. She lived in a hig house with her mupstother and two Sugliesters. Rendersella, mupstother, and Sugliesters always made Rendersella do all the word hurt, like flustering the scores and flubbering the durnsters. Rendersella, Sugliesters, guess what? They always got the clue nose. And poor Rendersella, for that was her name. She only had ruddy dacks to wear. Now, also in this corn country, there lived a Cransome Hint, and he decided to have a fancy ball. He would invite everybody from miles around, especially the Prittreeples. Rendersella's mupstother and Sugliesters were invited, but poor Rendersella had to hate so she got on a shrine. And while she was kidding their shrine, her merry godmother suddenly appeared and turned Hicks white mice and an old pumpkin into Hicks white horses and a Holden Garriot. Rendersella appeared at the fancy ball, and the Cransome Hint was sad to glee her. They danced tiny mimes and lowland fubs. Just as the mid struck clock night, she staced down the rares, and at the bottom of the blares, she slopped her dripper. The next May, the Cransome Hint went all over the corn country to find the Gretty Pearl who slopped her dripper at the fancy ball. He tried it on Rendersella's mupstother, and it been it. Then he tried on Rendersella's Sugliesters. Guess what? It been it. Then he tried on Rendersella, and it been it. So they mock married and lived heavily ever after. The moral of the story is, the next time you're invited to the fancy ball and you want the Cransome Hints to lull and sub with you, don't forget to slop your drippers.
That's so fun. I love that so much. It's so fun. I remember when you were up on stage, I was like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. I understand it, but I don't understand it. And I was confused and loved it all at the same time. And it's so fun to have you say it again. So I'm grateful to your mother and the creativity and however the path of your soul brought you to have that gift to give us. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that piece about your own children, and the bridge that love can be between cultures, religion, and anything. There's things that can bind us, and I'm really, really grateful for you bringing that piece to Sherilyn. So let's put our hands together for both Sherilyn and actually Marty as well. And
yes, Marty.
Yeah, for everyone who exemplifies this love.
And the children.
And the children as well. Yes. Yes, we love you and we're with you. Love you and
We
with
love you and I'm with
Love
you.
you and we're with
I
you.
love you and I'm with you.
And the father
Yeah,
of the
what's up, Anita?
With
children.
you.
The father of the children.
Also,
And the
Father.
fathers.
yeah.
Yes. Happy
And the
Father's
fathers.
Day.
Happy
All the
Father's Day.
fathers.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to your
Happy
father.
Father.
Marty, what was your father's name?
Jerry. His name's Jerry.
Jerry. And Sherilyn, your father's name?
My father's name was Eric Olaf. He passed away when I was 20. There's
Eric
an
Olaf.
amazing story about that for another time. But yes, he's the purpose of my book.
All right,
Yep.
both to Jerry and Eric Olaf, thank you so much. We love you. We're with you, and so happy that you're part of this Ancient Secrets community. So I did put in the chat the link where you can discover more and also fill out the application form. But then I want to just share a couple other examples. I want both Roma Rishi and then also Luke to share some examples of how can love guide us. And then I'm so happy if you haven't yet put in the chat one of the insights that came to you in the breakout room, please put it in the chat because I'm going to be reading through all of these. And then next Sunday's call, we'll make the announcements about what will happen from here on out. So first of all, Roma Rishi, are you able to share? Let's see if you're, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I am. I'm not quite sure what just happened. Okay, great. So the one thing that really struck me so powerfully about this experience in Sedona, there were so many things, too many for me to mention now, but the power of love in action, not in words. It's easy to talk about how we love everyone and we use the word love a lot, but what happened when we went to Sedona is amazing. We thought that we weren't going to be able to go. We had kind of given up, but Clint didn't give up. He wanted us to be there. And Casey offered a car for us to go, which was amazing. That's love in action, not words. And then Clint asked his dear friend, Joey, if Joey would come all the way from Texas to Oregon and pick us up and take us to Sedona. I'm going to start crying right now because it really touched us so deeply. He asked Joey to come from Texas to Oregon, pick us up, take us all the way to Sedona, and then bring us all the way back to Oregon. And amazingly, Joey said, sure, he would do it. It isn't that amazing if you know Joey, because Joey is a beacon of light in this world. But we were able to go, and that 3-day event in Sedona was the best 3 days of our entire life. So thank you to all of you who demonstrated love in action.
So beautiful. And Tara, anything you want to share?
It was just so incredible to see everyone that we see online, and to the love was just totally present there, and to see everybody's different talents, and just everybody has their own uniqueness that is a gift, is truly beautiful, and that why not love each other? The whole world. If we love each other, then that love will radiate out and create a beautiful energy around us and in the world.
Yeah,
and you can imagine what it's like to ride in a car with Joey for days and days and days, to be in the presence of a laughing Buddha. We laughed a lot.
That makes me so happy. What I love what you're sharing is everyone brings their gifts. It's like Hmong soup. You have lots of different ingredients. And the ingredient that you brought, Roma, Rishi, and Tara, was so beautiful in the whole mix of that feast of love. And each person, whether you're there physically or not, you have a gift to give. And what I love about this community is this is a space in which you can finally have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and discover what you truly want to do on this planet. and how to achieve what you want in a non-toxic way. So Larry was so beautiful sharing his book, The Philosopher's Wrench. I loved it. And Denny's book, in the last year of her life, this community gathered to make sure that that book, that love is the only truth, was born into the planet. And Shifra sharing her powerful poetry and us being able to celebrate, and also the gift of community and helping, Shifra and Tia and Renara to come, and Renara sharing her gift. So powerful. So you have a gift to share. And both Romarish and Tara were looking forward to the full 3 to 6 hour version of it. And I sent you an email about that and looking forward to make that announcement when the time comes. But thank you for sharing with love. Love in action. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really struck by what Roma Rishi, I think it was, said. It wasn't just talk, like Casey and Lucci and Michelle and Raven, they helped me like hands-on. And when I came, there were just so many people who did so many incredibly loving things. It was really like love in action. There's not just a feeling, it's a word. It's not just a word or a feeling, it's an action, and it had profound impact. And I did have a question, which is like, how do you respond when there's, like in communities not far from where I am, where there's acts of hate, and they're not just like a few here and there, like down the street from where I live. I mean, I wrote a poem and it wasn't full of hate toward the people who had desecrated, a church. It wasn't hate that I responded with, but I just wonder how to respond to some of I don't care if people disagree with me, but I do care when they commit acts of violence, and I don't really want to hurt them. Or
yeah, it's a really powerful question, Shifra. Can I see if I understand you?
Yeah.
You're in your heart, you're like, what do we do if in some communities we're a part of, there's even acts of hate and violence? Like, how do we respond to those? And that's the question in your heart right now.
Yeah.
What I want to do, Shifra, I'm going to open up that question for everyone in this upcoming week. Really look at that. When there's something that comes and thank you so much, Shifra, for bringing that beautiful question and bringing your beautiful heart and being an example of love in action. Thank you for bringing that in this space. I'm so grateful for you. And we can ponder this question. What do you do when not everyone's loving? What do you do in those moments? I want to go to a couple other people talking about love in action, Sharon and then Luke, and then we'll complete this beautiful call. Sharon, I just love what you told me about halfway through the event. What was that word? How did you express it again?
You created a place where it's safe to be happy.
Yeah. That the whole committee and the whole community created a space in which it's safe to be happy. That is so delicious. I love that. And so
go on.
No, you had something else you wanted to share. I saw you raise your hand.
I did. Well, but another thing that we had that is probably very unsung, and then I'll share what I actually wanted to share, but we had a goddess of housekeeping and details and a goddess of technology. And it made everything run so smoothly. And when I came back, one of my friends said, well, tell me, what were the highs and the lows? I said, there weren't any lows. The only low is coming back into the fog on the coast. But anyway, but I wanted to talk about Greg. And I think every woman should have a Greg. And I've actually had a couple of them. So Greg, when we moved to San Diego, Greg lived across the hallway from us. And he was 92 years old, and he lived to be 96. And my theory was anyone that old and that happy was clearly onto something and needed to be watched very carefully. And Greg, he had, if you could be it, do it, or have it. Greg had done it. He survived the 2006 earthquake in San Francisco. He'd outlived 3 lives. He'd owned oil wells. I mean, he'd been everywhere and done everything. But his secret was he had 3 of them. He never judged anything. It didn't matter what time of day or night I wanted to go somewhere. He was yes. And he was always curious about learning something new.
That's so powerful. And Greg was the one doing our sound, right?
No, he's no longer with us.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Well, maybe I have a third Greg.
Okay.
I've had several older gentlemen in my life who happen to be named Greg. I think our sound Greg is probably younger than I am, but anyway, that's okay.
I love that you shared that story, because also the father figures in our life that bring us that imprint of love. And so bringing that in space, and then also your wonderful partner, Ken, right?
And I should add, everyone was, oh, wow, when he hasn't taken his cane back and saw him dancing. But the real healing, the bigger one, no one saw, was Thursday morning. He's had this digestive thing for 60 years, and he was really having a bad time that morning. I said, just ask Dr. Giovanni for a Marmaa. I know some things, but I had no idea what to do about that. Within 15 minutes, problem was resolved.
Wow. How long had the problem been there before?
About 60 years.
60 years of a digestive problem. Within 15 minutes of a Marmaa, the problem was solved. And can you show us what the Marmaa was? Just so we all have that.
And apparently I need it too. And I don't even know exactly. It's in kind of here in the palm of
the left hand, right, kind of in the center of the palm or close to the center, and pressing that point 6 times.
It seems like it was more lower, or at least for me, but anyway.
Did he do a certain amount of numbers of fingers down, or did he just press that point?
He just pressed it as far as I
Let's do this. Let's have both Giovanni, and let's see if Ken can be on next Sunday's call so we can get the full story. Does that sound good? If possible.
It's possibly 2 weeks we're going to be traveling, so I don't know.
Okay. No problem. In 2 weeks. But for those that weren't there, Ken walked up to the stage with a cane, and he wanted to share about 2 miracles. And then we did Marmaa Shakti, and I asked him, what do you want? And he says, I want to dance again. And I said, to what music? He says, rock and roll. And so within 5 minutes, he had put his cane to the side. And after doing the Marmaa Shakti, measuring the points and doing everything, even with his shirt still off, him and Sharon were rock and rolling to the beautiful song. We were all up in the chairs and celebrating that magic moment. And thank you so much for sharing that. Not only that was a miracle, that he hasn't taken his cane since then. The rest of the time he was walking with his cane up, giving it to people, walking up and down, but dancing with life. And so what a powerful thing. And thank you, Sharon, for sharing those miracles and sharing with us the miracle of having a space in which it's safe to be happy. Yeah. So beautiful. And I love that background, of course. All right, I want to go to Luke. And then also talking about birthdays, I saw that Shifra says her birthday's coming up, and she posted in the chat about a birthday celebration. It was Belle's birthday yesterday, and Pamela's birthday, 2 of the Golden Angels, was her birthday earlier this week. If there's anyone's birthday that we haven't celebrated, I want to let you know that we love you and we're with you. But talking about love in action, Luke, man, what a great example of love in action. Wow. Can you share from your heart? And this will be the last share, unless there's some other burning thing that someone wants to share. But again, while Luke is sharing in the chat, any final thoughts that you have about, okay, in a Ancient Secrets community structure, what would I want? How would I feel like I belong? And one of the gifts is, first of all, having your gift to share, but also having something to be of service in. And there's so many ways to be engaged. And Luke, if you can share what you found, and in that invitation that you have, would be so powerful.
Thank you. So in what I do with the homeless, going into the streets and helping them with food, water, cash, blankets, and talking with them, finding things out about them, and just letting them know that they're humans and they're not just being ignored. I have tons of stories, but there's 2 that I want to share that came about immediately upon my return from Sedona. To give you a little background first, on the last day in Sedona, in the afternoon into the evening, I started to feel really badly physically, cold symptoms and scratchy throat and sneezing and cough. And it affected my enjoyment of that last evening when we were doing the silent ceremony. And then the next day, Friday, which was my birthday, and I had planned to do so many wonderful things, I felt awful. And even though a few friends took me out to a birthday breakfast, I spent the day in Sedona on my birthday in bed resting because I felt so bad. Though I dragged myself up a couple of times to go to some galleries and things. Then the next day I traveled on Saturday and I felt even worse. So when you're traveling through airports and everything, feeling so terrible, it's just horrible. So I finally got home at about 11 o'clock at night on Saturday. And love gave me the opportunity to help a homeless man. I went out to Safeway to get a few things at 11 o'clock at night. The homeless usually don't hang out at Safeway at night, usually just during the day. But there was a tall homeless man and he asked me for some change. So instead of change, I gave him a few dollars and he was thrilled. And I asked my usual questions. Where do you sleep? Do you have any blankets? Do you have any food? And we talked for a while. And every night he has to find another place to sleep, which is typical for most street homeless. He had a very thin blanket on him. And I ran out of blankets. I usually have these nice polar fleece blankets in my car that I give out, but I ran out. So I ordered more recently this week. So I said to him, are you hungry? And he said, yes, I haven't eaten in a while. So I said, you stay here. And I went back into Safeway and I got him a ton of really nice, warm food, enough for 2 different meals with chips and bottles of water and all kinds of food that he can eat for 2 meals. And I gave it to him. And he was so happy and so thrilled and blessing me and everything. And then I said goodbye to him and I went home. But here's the thing I noticed. My symptoms were gone. The sickness that I was feeling in me, just by shifting my attention away from myself and onto someone else just because of love, all I had was a slight cough when I got home after 2 days of feeling terrible. And one of the things I went to get is cough medicine. So at night I took a little cough medicine when I went to bed. And in the morning next day, gone. I mean, I was just perfect. This sickness, I thought, oh my God, let it not be COVID again. And, I was really concerned. I felt horrible. And then just by helping this homeless man, which love guided me to do, as always, my symptoms went away. So it was a miraculous healing just from letting love guide me to help him. And then a couple of days later, I came across 3 people in the park where I live in Capitol Lake. And it turned out to be a mother and her 2 children. Now, this is a mother named Rebecca and her children, Cassandra and Blaze, 12 years old and 14 years old. And we spoke and I asked them what happened. And she explained they were homeless only 3 weeks. Only the last 3 weeks they were homeless because she lost her disability and she's out on the streets. So I said, where do you sleep? Well, we sleep in alleyways. Now imagine if you were a mother with 2 young children, 12 and 14, and every night you had to sleep in alleyways. And they were living on peanut butter and honey sandwiches. And she had her name on some list for homeless shelters waiting to get in. So we spoke for a while, and with her too, I went off and got them a whole bunch of warm food, enough for a lot of eating time. And we talked for a while. She had blankets, so she was good on blankets. I gave her some protein bars and water and cash and all that. But it broke my heart. It's still with me that a mother, imagine if you're a mother with 2 young children and you're sleeping in alleyways at night. It still touches my heart so deeply, okay? And I went back, I saw again just the other day, and she's hoping to get into a shelter sometime soon. But, these sorts of things, it touched me. And this is why I do this. Before I worked with the homeless starting a year and a half ago, I was like everybody else. I ignored the homeless. If they asked for change, I said, no, I don't have anything. But a transformation took place in my heart about a year and a half ago. And I don't know why, where I cannot resist helping the homeless. My heart goes out to them. I cannot go by a homeless person and not do something for them. But not only do I wait for that to happen, I literally go into the streets proactively. I know where they hang out, even at night. And I know for women, this might be a little sketchy for you to do that, but I'm not afraid of it. I go into the streets where they hang out and I start giving them things. They line up at my car, at my Jeep. When I'm handing out, especially I have a ton of blankets and sleeping bags and all kinds of food and everything, and cash. I always give them all at least a few dollars each. So I do this out of love, not because I'm trying to get anything in return. And I don't know why I went through this transformation, but I did. But it's a passion of mine. It's my biggest passion in my life these days, is to help the homeless. And I would want to implore all of you, and this is where contagious healing comes in. Please don't ignore the homeless in your areas. If you have nothing more than a couple of dollars in your wallet, I mean, if you have nothing more than some money you can share with them, please do that. But ask them if they're hungry, ask them what they're doing. Go get them a turkey sandwich and a bottle of water. You know, just do something.
I want to add one piece into this too, because you know, a big part of Dr. Naram traveling with him, and Vinay or anyone that was with him will know, we would always have something in our car. So if anyone came up to the car, anyone was homeless, anyone we met, a person, also animals that needed, we will always have something to give. It was a part of practicing the Titi Devo Baba, to treat the unexpected guest as if God himself or herself has come. In Sedona, when I asked Luke, what do you want? He says, I want to have so much abundance in my life that I can help many, many more people who are homeless. And it makes so much sense that part of Ancient Secrets Foundation, not only helping homeless, but we're so happy about Luke. We said, we want you to lead this project. And so, Luke, thank you for bringing the heart of that into this space, because it's so important, not only because it feels good, but it's also for our own healing, because we're all connected, whether we like it or not. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And then also,
I just want to mention that big thing that they need is medical and dental care. And I can't provide that. You know, a lot of the street people I took to, they're missing teeth. Some of them have sores on their faces and hands, even the young ones in their 20s. It's heartbreaking. So they need medical and dental care so much. That's one of the things I want to do. I'm on a path to become wealthy, which should happen in the next couple of years, and with some investments and things. And one of the biggest things I want to do is really get them medical and dental care, help to build shelters and so on. Because these are the things, I mean, I'm making a dent with these nice little things that I do, but it really is just a dent. At least it's something. But I want to do something on a much grander scale, and I really hope to do that someday.
Thank you, Luke. What if we have another call coming up soon where we specifically focus on homeless again? And I love this intention. What if we create so much abundance that we can help all of life on the planet? You know, what if we create non-toxic abundance, help you achieve, Luke, what you want? And what if Luke is a microcosm for the macrocosm? The other thing I want to say is that in addition to the homeless, you know, a big part of the whole community is, you know, we're supporting 9 orphanages in Nepal and some other ones in Africa. This is when they had just, these kids wanted to help Benita's orphan home. So this is the Mountain Children Home, by making these love bracelets. It was so fun to bring them to Sedona and put them on everyone's hands. You can see the ones that are on my hand. And you can see these kids that made this because they believed in living in abundance. They didn't say, I don't have anything. They says, I can give from my love. And so part of the community is doing that. Some of these kids are great artists. And so they painted this, which we had there in the event. This is Benita's kids. And then they also painted these other portraits, which I love, that were there and that people had a chance to get. And they made sure that the messages of love. So this is beautiful. This is one that Kripa painted that went into the hands of, I can't remember who. And it was so fun to bring them to New York City and to send the picture back to those kids saying, look where your paintings are. Even Mickey and Minnie Mouse are holding them. And then to bring them to Sedona, where now that love is spread throughout all the planet. The people who purchase them, instead of just giving money, to support talent and see abundance flow through that as well, is so fun. So exciting. So thank you everyone who's going to be a part of this Ancient Secrets community. I'll post in the chat one more time, just the link to apply. And then I just want to hear from several of you, what did love teach you on today's call? And you can post it in the chat. You can also just share, but I want to go first of all to Jeannie. I don't know, just because I love hearing your voice. And anything that you feel like love taught you on today's call, and we'll go to a couple of the Golden Angels.
Let me unmute myself. Oh,
you're unmuted right now, yeah.
I think for me, Dr. Clint, over and over again on Sundays, I keep going deeper into this principle of letting love guide me. And love has gotten so much bigger in terms of what it means to me. Not just the level of the heart emotion moving, but on the level of awareness, on the level of divine intelligence, on the level of perception. And as it keeps expanding, that principle means more and more to me in terms of just awareness, attention, and intention and giving. So that happened again on today's small group. So that's such a beautiful gift from Ancient Secrets to my life. I'm so grateful.
Oh, and you're giving it back to all of us so beautifully and so articulately. Thank you so much. And Belle, since it was your birthday, I want to hear also, what did love teach you on today's call and this year of your life?
I just posted something about a foundation called Unstoppable, and it which I just heard about yesterday, which is really based on giving is receiving. And I'm just so present to, how Ancient Secrets and our foundation and the orphanages in Nepal, this is, really, if we even don't have anything today, figure out something to give to somebody.
Yeah.
Linda,
a kind word we can give.
Yeah, a kind word, a smile, but with that consciousness that this is, I'm giving this with no strings attached, and then just really just receive. I mean, it's a law of the universe. So I'm just present to that and to today. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So beautiful. I want to see, is anyone new on the call? Just in the chat, go ahead and say, I'm new. I especially love to hear what you feel like love has guided you. I want to go to someone that I haven't heard from before. Glenn Marks, what did love teach you today? I'm real curious if you feel comfortable sharing. Glenn, do you feel comfortable sharing what did love teach you on today's call?
I'm feeling well, I'm feeling anxious right now.
Well, it's okay if we just start by sending you some love up front. All right, we're going to send you some love because all of us have felt that moment of feeling anxious and sharing for the first time. We love you, Glenn. I'm so happy that you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated. I'm just feeling a little uncomfortable right now.
All right. Yeah. Would you like to share something some insight that came to you on today's call?
If anything, I guess I feel how much I need to open my heart more. And I'm feeling I'm just very grateful to be amongst people where love can be spoken about and shared. I feel I really need that in my life more and learn how to accept more.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Glenn. Thank you so much. When I was in Sedona, one person came up to me the first event and said the first time she came on these calls, she says it was too much love and she couldn't stand it, so she had to leave. And she didn't believe it, that it was possible. It seemed too fake or something. And she told me, she's like, now, after doing the 30-day detox and reading the book and doing so many things, she's like, a sign that I have changed is now I can be in the presence of love and I can enjoy it. I don't feel awkward in the presence of love anymore. It's my normal. I thought that was one of the most beautiful things. And even what you shared, Glenn, it's a mirror for me that I want to open my heart more. So thank you for being willing to share that. I really appreciate that. And I honor you and I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
I also see that Melissa, you said that you're new. I'd love for you to share. What is something that love taught you on today's call?
Oh, you unmuted me. Thank you. Thank you. It was beautiful, this call. Thank you so much. To see some people that I did see in Sedona. It's like, it does just bring back more family, community. And for me, I feel like the more I open my heart, the more miracles happen. And it is happening more and more in my life now. So it just makes me want to open my heart more and more and more and more. And then it is living in a life of love. And this is what it's supposed to be like. And it's happening more and more and more now.
To Glenn and Melissa, let's send both so much love, and anyone else who is new on this call, showing up for the first time. We love you. We're with you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We could go to so many other people, but I want to come back to Amber, just because we started with you and it's so fun. I just want to hear anything in particular you feel like love taught you anew or renewed or reminded you, or that you remembered as you're here today on this beautiful space.
you know, I really feel like I'm on the precipice, in the doorway, on the edge of new expansion in my life with what love has to teach me, and how living my life through love. And I have to say, it's a little bit scary because I don't have a point of reference for this yet. My reference of love is much smaller than this. So I'm a little like, okay, what's this gonna look like? And I also understand that I can relax about that, and I don't have to worry about it, and that I don't have to try to control the way love is going to show up or not. It's really it is a little scary, but I can even recognize that that's okay too. That I can love that part of me that has trepidation or wants to investigate further, or yeah, and that love is always bigger and always more delicious and happier and more fulfilling than what isn't.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Anyone else feel a little bit scared when you're stepping into the space of expansion into more love and letting love guide? Anyone feel like that? You know, one person said the difference between nervous and excited is the breath. I like that. And so it's almost like that nervousness or that, and then we breathe into it. And, it's actually kind of exciting. Yeah. Amber, thank you so much. So excited about following your journey and so happy that you're here on today's call. You know, one person that's not on the call today is Gary Malkin, and one of his dear friends, who's actually a leader in the community, has just passed away. And so he's in the midst of that grief, you know, which he taught us so powerfully about through graceful passages, is how do you assimilate that grief? And one thing for Gary and for any of us who are missing our fathers, missing someone that we love that's been a part of our life, if just we could just honor that by just putting our hands together in this moment. And actually what we'll do is I'm going to just allow everyone to unmute themselves here. Okay. Just you can say, I love you when I'm with you. I love you.
Love you, and I'm with you.
Love you, and I'm with you.
Love you, and I'm with you.
And I'm with
you.
Love you, and I'm with
Love you, and I'm with you.
Love you, and I'm with
And I love you, and I'm with you. Love you, and I'm with you.
Love you, and I'm with
Love you, and I'm with you.
and I'm with
Love
you.
you, and I'm with you. Love you, and I'm with you. Love you, and I'm with you.
And I'm with you.
I love you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. All right. Well, now, if people need to leave this call, you can. If you want to stay on the call, I'm going to open up breakout rooms one more time, just so some people, I like it if everyone has a chance to share, what did love teach you? And so for those that feel inspired to and want to stay on the call, you'll see the breakout rooms are now open. For those watching this as a recording or through Facebook Live, love you and with you. You can sign up. You can discover more about the new community structure. Next Sunday, we'll talk more about it. We'll have some more surprises on next Sunday's call. Happy Father's Day. I'm so grateful to be with you today. I love you, and I'm with you.